hell is thinking heaven is away from you. And heaven is recognizing that it is here and now. For the listeners, say it one more time.
Strength is surrendering because you know that whatever happens, you can handle it.
I can't help but not do what I'm doing. You know what I mean? And I don't have to think very hard about it.
I'm not joking. I'm crying right now.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. All
Hi,
right.
thank you for having time today.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's an honor. I'm glad we could find some time.
Me too.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. You're so inspiring. I just found your stuff a couple of weeks ago, and I thought I need to have this interview with you. It would be amazing.
I knew who you were right away. When Anna said Energy Hospital, I was like, no way. I was following you. I've been following you for a while.
Oh, wow. How awesome. Well, cool. Yeah, it's a pleasure to meet you, Gary. Yeah, looking forward to getting to know both of y'all.
I will introduce the idea of Insanity, the podcast, to you a little bit. Then Gary can introduce himself, and then maybe you can do the same for the listeners. And then we will just let the conversation flow.
Perfect. I love it.
Perfecto. So, Insanity is a philosophy podcast, a fun philosophy podcast, where we discuss life's most fundamental questions. We ask ourselves who we are beyond the self-concepts that we have, what we really want to do with our lives when we are not living up to the expectations of other people or of society. And that's why I chose to talk to interesting people who have taken an unconventional path in life. For example, I had guests like comedians who are reading memes, or a guy who pretends being a woman and pranks other men, spiritual people, actors, musicians, inspiring people, artists. And it's just about showing people who follow their hearts and who are themselves, and inspire people to be themselves as much as they can.
So good. And even with like the etymology of it or semantics, it's like insanity. You are insanity. Yeah. So
yes.
good.
Yes. And whoever thinks that we are the crazy guys, also fine.
Yep. All is welcome. Yeah. So good.
Yes, and even before I started this podcast, I already met Gary, and we podcasted like 3, 4, even more times. And I think his program is amazing, and maybe he can introduce himself now.
Oh, and fun fact, we're engaged now.
Wow, so cool. Well, yeah, tell me a little bit about yourself, Gary. I'd love to get to know you a little bit before we jump in.
Sure. So I'm the founder of Optimum College. It's a new kind of college. And I listened to your podcast on Iron Skillet when you were talking about how college wasn't right for you. I'll tell you, if I was as brave as you were, I would have done the same. But I stuck with it. I have a college degree. But it never felt right to me. And the idea was to reevaluate college from first principles. I'm an educator by trade. And there is no college to create what you've created. There wasn't anyway, and maybe there never will be, I don't know. But the idea basically is that at Optimum College, people can follow their passion, and it's more of a community of colleagues, and it's a think tank and just a safe place to play with ideas and develop and create and think of plans. And it's more of that than it is this one-way communication where there's somebody who's speaking to you and you're just supposed to download this information. You have to agree with it. You never have to agree with anything at Optimum College, not even with me. So if I ever say anything that you're like, I disagree with that, it's okay. And we have one degree. It's a certified optimist. That's it.
That's so good. Yeah. That's beautiful. We need more of that. Thank you for, one, honoring yourself and listening to the calling, and then putting forth action, to manifest it, because I know you mentioned we may never have that. Well, it's the people like you who come with the idea and then actually bring it into fruition through manifestation. That's going to help evolve the collective, So it's quite literally people like you that are going to do that. So thank you.
Thank you for inspiring me.
Yeah.
We just sent videos of you and content that you create back and forth with Gary, because we were like also really inspired and we checked it all. And there was another podcast that you joined, and you told that you had something like a vision of yourself, of your higher self, and that this was something that probably started your story. That's why I wanted to ask if you could explain it a little bit more, how it all began.
Yeah, of course. Thank you. Yeah, I was having kind of visions of a man who, in the vision, had long hair, and in real life, like I had super short hair. And I had this vision where I would just kind of meet him and feel the energy around him through him, and not speak to him, but just recognize him. And I had this dream 3 times, and by the third time, it was revealed to me that this is my higher self. This is me. And then ever since then, I've kind of held myself accountable under that idea of who that higher self is. And so it spilled into, I couldn't help it spill into my music, so it was like everything that I create, everything that I speak of, I'm passing it through a check of like through my higher self. It's like, okay, are we being authentic as possible? And if so, then cool, share it, So yeah, that's kind of the story. And then I grew my hair out, so I look like him now too. Yep.
Super interesting, because I had conversations with friends sometimes that they were unhappy in their lives, and they used to ask me, how can I change that? What should I do? And it's already like 1-2 years ago when I had this idea of, can you envision yourself in like a future ideal self of yourself? Like, how are you? Who are you? What do you look like? How do you feel when you think about a version of yourself that feels more like yourself? And I even had a friend who got divorced after that, who changed her life like completely. Now she's super happy. Everything turned out well. But this was like a very interesting idea to envision yourself from another, maybe a higher perspective, and to grow into that, to align with that. That's why I really love this dream that you had, that it always came back to give you this vision. So you kind of didn't force it, or you didn't ask for it. It came to you, through you somehow.
Yeah, and I loved what you said. The goal is to feel what it's like to already be that, because it's not something we need to go get or go find. It's something that we embody here and now, So it's like many people who are, working with the law of attraction or manifestation, whatever, they want to use, they don't necessarily approach it in the right way because they're asking God or source for something like I want, or I need, or I wish, which is actually telling people that you are already without it, which is sending out the wrong message, So it's all from a place of like, I have and I am already, and feeling into it, as you said, is so key. Just feeling and believing, that it has already happened, and you become it.
I don't fear hell, I tame it. I don't long for heaven, I create it. To quote the great Saint Ben.
Thank you. Yeah. It's an interesting concept, that many of us, I think, through a lot of the Western teachings, the Abrahamic kind of, those 3 main pillars, took the power of darkness and integrated fear into it, so that we run away from our demons. We fear our demons. We only strive for light. And I say that because the person who runs to their demons and doesn't fight them, we're also taught to fight them, but doesn't fight them and loves on them, kisses them, watches them submit every single time, because that is what they do. They just want love, affection, and attention. When we embody the dark, we are a full spectrum being, the yin and yang. And so the goal isn't just life and light, as well as the goal isn't just, heaven. It's like, how do we embody both of these energies so that we are alchemists, so that we can create and not live in fear? So yeah, I've also said like hell is thinking heaven is away from you. Like it's away. And heaven is recognizing that it is here and now, right now, in the present, the gift, the present.
Reclaiming our sovereignty.
Indeed.
How do you approach this concept of embracing the dark side on a daily basis? Or do you have tips for people how to do that?
Yeah, so the great shadow. So I think first recognizing what triggers you is a good key. I think all triggers are keys that we have to our shadow boxes that we have inside, the things that we've suppressed, the things that we don't acknowledge, the things that we try to quiet down and ignore. So when you see yourself triggered by something, or if you feel yourself reacting to something as opposed to responding to something, those are little gifts for you to be like, oh, okay, let's go deeper into this. And so this happens every day, it seems, and the more we lean into what feels uncomfortable, the more we seek discomfort, the more we get to meet our own shadow. There's a common phrase, kill the ego. Have y'all heard that saying before? To kill the ego? I disagree with that.
Oh, good.
Yeah, it's a popular saying in the spiritual community. It's like kill the ego. It's like what? That's like saying kill half yourself. Like you need the ego. So it's more like how I would optimize that is befriend the ego, tame the ego, know when it shows up. And these are how we can embody that dark energy to where we can transmute things that we think happen to us into things that happen for us. Because everything happens for us if we believe that we are the power. So that's kind of how I kind of seek the shadow attributes of myself. Yeah.
Awesome.
Love it.
Okay, I'm gonna ask this question. Take this wherever you want. Okay. I had this written down. What is love, and is it real?
Yeah, so my answer is like isness. I don't even try to personify love as good. There's an isness to it. There's a being. It's the same thing with like human, we're not human doings, we're not human tryings, we're human beings who are trying to remember what it's like to be. And so love is like it's everything and nothing. It's like there is no hierarchy, there is no ugly snowflake. It's all accepted and it's all divine and wonderful. So I would say I am love, as you are love, as I believe you are as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
Would you say that even darkness is an expression of love?
Yeah. So that's the power I think I was mentioning, where it's when you start to think the dark is this antagonist that's fighting this light that is a protagonist, you're creating war within yourself. So if we have war within ourselves, the common saying, as within, so without.
Sorry.
That's another good one.
When we see and experience war on the exterior reality, which we see today, war doesn't exist because people are creating war on the outside. War exists because every self is disconnected inside. They are creating war within. And so we see it on the exterior manifested.
Yeah, I've once heard the saying that the world is like a teenager. It's like it didn't decide yet, or it's in an in-between state, kind of rebelling, kind of trying to find itself, kind of expressing love, but also expressing the opposite, like just finding itself. I think it shows how each and every one of us probably is, like sometimes not in balance, getting back into balance.
And the joy of that is, being able to flirt in out of balance, in overbalance, right? The goal isn't necessarily to come here and just be perfectly balanced. We're here to experience the whole hue of colors, the hue man. Like we're here to experience all of it. And so it's like, how do we fluctuate on that equilibrium and feel, how do we do it with grace and ease to dip into the lows and understand and understand that everything that could be taken like is happening against me is quite literally happening for me? And how do we think like that? So it's like, how do we dip into the lows and the sadness, and then go peak at the the triumphs and the bliss and the joy of life, and then come back down. It's like, how do we do this dance? Not just
Yeah.
how do we just stay here the whole time. It's like, it's almost impossible. It's like we're here to experience all of it, not just pure balance, or pure light.
Yeah.
This is so true. And I know this is true because people are finding this out for themselves. It doesn't always need to be taught. It doesn't always need to be shown. Anna speaks like this all the time. And whereas as we talked about at the beginning, Abrahamic faiths and things, you wouldn't know this unless someone told you. Someone has to kind of instruct you in this way, but this way you are speaking, it's something so true that if someone gave enough time and thought to it, they would come to the same conclusions, I believe.
Interesting. Yeah. And who knows, maybe they could find it with notebooks and, sitting under a tree, and then the leaf falls on their arm, and then they look at their arm and they're like, the veins in my arm are in the veins in the leaf. Well, why is nature showing me that myself? Right? It's like and so the more we connect with this, what I would call nature, our environment, the more we connect with that, we're going to start to put the members back together through recognizing that there is no difference between the beauty we see in a tree and the beauty that we can see in ourselves. And that's what nature teaches us. It's like, our limbs are the same as her limbs. It's like, how do we, trees are literally like these divine beings they're like this, they're like still, and they have their branches out like this. This is literally a invitation to come under here and gather underneath me. All trees, like, they're like gather. They're like, come here and gather.
It's like symbiotic. This whole universe has just optimized itself. Is the word I like to use, of course, optimum college, but it is so optimized for us to be part of it. And how even like fungus will communicate with the tree, and they help each other, and the tree evolves so we can take shade under it, and we evolve to eat the fruit of the tree, and then some animals will poop out the seeds and it'll grow more trees.
Yeah, someone could find that enlightenment simply just by being open to interact with source. And I believe we're coming from an age, a Piscean age, that was very heavily emphasizing teachings. We're leaving these teachings and we are returning into a space, this golden age of rekindling our relationship with our environment and our awareness with the things around us, rekindling our relationship with the self, that this power does not reside away from us, it is us. And now we're responsible to teach the next wave that's coming.
Show the way, be an example. I love it.
Yeah, that's super beautiful, because I was thinking a lot about the difference between the knowledges that we can have, like the learned stuff that we learn from books, or we read something and probably in some point it clicks. But I've made the experience many, many times that sometimes I just have the knowledge and I couldn't even explain where it comes from. It's just as if I'm between two realms or something. I just know something, and then I would read something that clicks with it. So I read an information. I read probably even a religious script or something, and it will talk about something that I can apply on the knowledge that I already have. So it feels more like truth. But it's not that I read something, or most of the time, it's not that I read something and I think, oh yeah, this is ultimate truth. It comes more through an experience, and this experience comes from within or from somewhere, but it's definitely not from listening or reading something external.
Yeah, I love what you just said there, because you were mentioning that there is this kind of hard to explain knowing that you will get from something. So I believe thoughts, a lot of these like divine thoughts, I guess we could say, that come through are like spirits that choose a host to. And so I believe that when you have these divine thoughts, you are a host for a brilliant divine thought that has chosen you, because you have the responsibility, you have the ability to respond. So now you have a responsibility to usher this thought into the world. So yeah, I feel like people who have those downloads are
Yeah.
chosen, because they're ready to share it. And they don't know where it came from because they're like, this makes so much sense, but I didn't read this in a book and I never heard this from someone's mouth. It feels,
Yes.
yeah, that's what those are for.
I think that I asked for it once because I remember myself being on holidays in Sri Lanka like for a month, and I remember myself saying the whole time that I'm ready to receive information from my highest self, and I kind of tried to channel it. And since then, it comes like randomly. I'm just having a walk, or I talk to someone, and it's just information pops up in my head.
So good.
And
That's
I
the
think this is what you probably mean, because it doesn't feel or sound like it's another entity or it's another being. I think it's maybe still myself somehow.
yeah, yeah. You have the capacity, you've made room to be open, to be a conduit. So you have released yourself from attachments and you're crystallizing is what you're doing. You're becoming clearer so that you can bring divine wisdom in. And so yeah, I feel like thoughts are like, spirits or these entities that can come into hosts and then we can pull them out and share it with the world. And when, a million people are doing that and opening themselves to this divine knowledge, these downloads, this starts to shift the consciousness of the collective like pretty quickly, and we have the gift of technology here. We have social media, we have TikTok. So it's like, yeah, I would say ever since TikTok was starting to become huge, the collective's consciousness was just like,
Yes.
it's like everyone's sharing their
I'm
divine.
glad you're saying this.
Yeah.
Yes. It's been interesting. I don't even know if TikTok could have been created in the United States. TikTok feels so different from other social networks where it really feels like it's about us. It's not about listening to whatever chosen celebrity.
Exactly.
It's about us speaking.
Mm-hmm. Power to the people.
Power to the people. Tell me about dreams, because I caught little clips of you talking about dreams and seeing these angels, and I love this idea. Seeing Archangel Michael, and I love, these are our stories. We can speak on these stories. This idea, oh no, you have to go to this building, special building, listen to that person talk about it. No, these are our stories, and we will speak on these stories as well.
Yeah. Dreams. Yeah. So the fourth dimension, the spirit realm, where time does not exist. I believe many of us subconsciously are doing a lot of traveling in that realm, a lot of shadow work that we were talking about earlier, that they may not feel they're able to do in the 3D. Their higher self is taking control in the fourth dimension and is doing this. So as we think, some of us think dreams are random. I wholeheartedly believe it's not random in any way. It's just your perception of how connected you are to your higher self or your astral body. So I believe, again, piggybacking off of the idea that our thoughts are spirits and they find hosts, it's like the dream world is a place where we can work on ourselves, and travel to other places, and while still being tethered to this physical body.
There is something magic going on with dreams. I don't know. I'm a scientist. I try my best, but there is something really magic going on with dreams.
Yeah, a lot of work is being done. It feels, just from listening to people and sharing what they've been sharing since 2020, something opened up in 2020 in that kind of realm. Not to go too foo-foo, but like it's like something opened up during 2020, and people's ability to remember dreams is changing, how vivid the dreams are, how lucid they are. A lot of people have been accidentally astral projecting, and with no practice whatsoever, they're just like out of their body, and accidentally remote viewing, and now they're like, outside when they're laying on the couch, their body is outside, and they're like, what is this cord connecting my belly button to my body? And then they like snap back into it. So I've been hearing, the last couple of years, a lot of people are experiencing pretty beautiful things when it comes to dreams. So yeah, that's on par.
Wow, I didn't know that it's this time frame, because I think it matches with my experience. It's around 3 years, I would say, that I have extreme dream experiences. I even had them before. There were a couple of dreams that I still remember and that were crazy and maybe even a little bit life-changing. But I think it's really like 3 years from now that I have many vivid dreams, many things that I remember. I even remember having a different life in my dreams, like seeing through the eyes of another person who has, yeah, really a completely different life, different thoughts, different values, everything. So not connected to me at all, different looks. And
Yeah.
then I just wake up from it and it didn't feel like a dream at all. I just remember myself watching things from the perspective of that person, doing things I would never agree doing, like thinking this is not Anna at all, like the physical me or the person that I choose to be would never react in such ways. So it's so interesting to see that happening. And I asked myself at that time, like, what is it? I even died in that dream, or almost died, and I woke up not being able to breathe or anything. It was really crazy,
Yeah,
insane.
you
Insane.
tapped you tapped into your Akashic records, your library where you store these past lives. And so, yeah, that's another thing that other people have been experiencing too. Where, where we've been taught, around like the 80s and 90s of what the Akashic is. I mean, it's been around forever. It's limitless, but
Yeah.
um, the awareness of what the Akashic is and how to access the library has been taught for decades. And people practice it for a long time and don't get to do it. And something shifted in 2020 where it's like we all have access to a lot of this power that has been taught needs to be earned, or you need many years to get these types of things. And it's like it leveled everything out, and it was
Yeah.
like power to the human and the self. So yeah, it looks like you're tapping into your Akashic records.
Is it because we become more sensitive?
It could very well. That's a good point. Yeah, I would agree that so many people talk about the Great Awakening. I believe that energy is infinite. It's everlasting. So it's more like a remembering instead of like, okay, I'm awake. It's like we're remembering ourselves, which is different. It hits different because you're like,
Hmm.
when you remember, you have this aha moment of like, I've always been this.
Yeah.
It's like, then you're like, oh my, there's so much more like
Yeah.
power in that, There's
Yeah.
there's like there's a vocation and a mission. So
Yeah.
yeah, I believe so.
Yeah. The universe speaks to us if you listen to it. And when you open yourself up to that possibility, like you said, it's like it was speaking this entire time. I just
Mhm.
wasn't listening. I had an awakening. Mine was around 2015, 16. And I just stopped listening to people and started listening to the universe. I was like, it was speaking this entire time. And people are manifestations of the universe as well. So,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's amazing. Yeah. You said 2015?
Yeah. I don't want to get political, but just seeing how the world was just going mad and just realizing that I need to be my own sovereign. I love this when you said something about reclaiming our forgotten sovereignty and you're unbaptizing. I thought that was the whole thing was just wow,
Thank you.
good. Yeah. And just reclaiming my sovereignty and being like, I'm not going to listen to someone tell me how it is. I'm going to know how it is.
Mm-hmm.
And everything started aligning from that point forward. The universe wants us to succeed. It's on our side. It's
Mm-hmm.
helping us. It's been doing it the entire time, even when we're ignoring it.
True.
Can you tell me about alchemy? Because I was seeing your journals, and what is this language? Because you are a consummate creator, by the way. It's not just to anyone listening to this. Finn is not just a musician. He's an artist. Like, yeah,
Thank you. As we all are, we are
yeah,
all artists that are choosing to partake in a collaboration with Source.
yeah.
And till we find out we are Source.
Yes.
We realize we're collaborating with ourselves. So
We are.
um,
It's not woo woo. It's
yeah,
not.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
something Anna and I talk about a lot. Like we talk about this stuff. It's like the language is kind of evolving to how to even describe this. It's a kind of convergent philosophy that's happening, and this is not woo woo. It's like real. We
Yeah,
are
yeah,
source.
yeah.
Yeah.
Ashe. Yeah, alchemy. Um, so I guess like as a prescript, talking about this language that you might hear in my music that I sing, it's funny. I have a lot of people comment on my TikTok. They're like, "Is this Portuguese? Is this French?" You know, and I have to comment. I'm like, this is my soul language." Or in the spiritual community,
Awesome.
you hear light language, but it's really not just light language because it's like it's also dark language and it's both. So it's like my native tongue. It's what my soul sings that's not tied to the color of my skin or the culture or region of the world that I was brought up in. It's universal. It's even not of this world, you know. So we can write this, we can sing this, we can speak this, we can dance in this way. You know, it's language is not just what we speak, it's everything. It's how we create. And so
Yes.
about a year and a half ago, I started an alchemy journey, um, trying to figure out, you know, how to connect to different organs of the body and the different parts of the body, you know, our teeth and the meridian system and our liver and our stomach, our first brain, and how we can move
Mm.
energy through our spine. And so like I wanted to be able to document it in an artistic way that felt authentic to me. And so a language was created through that. And yeah, so I've been also making those symbols for people as well. They're channeling their higher self,
I was
you
gonna
know?
say you could sell these prints if you wanted. If you
Yeah.
wanted,
Oh,
no.
yeah. I know. Yeah. People are like, where can I get this book? And I'm like, it's in my living room.
Yeah, right, right.
Yeah.
Wow.
Maybe one day. Maybe one day.
Yeah.
See.
Oh,
But
that's
yeah.
so beautiful. I need to deep dive more into it. And because when I listen to the music while I'm doing something, then I won't understand the language. So I need to be in a space where I'm also open to receive the meaning. Because I
Mm,
already did a few times, I'm sure again in dreams, that's kind of my language. I had
mm,
couple of dreams where I remember a language that was not a language. And I remember myself knowing what it was about and listening to it and understanding every single word or
mm,
everything that was said, but it was not a language that I knew. And while I was zooming out, no, actually zooming in again into the experience. So I don't like to say that I wake up from a dream because it feels more like I'm zooming into the experience again. And when I did that, then I was so afraid almost that I would forget what it was about. And I
mm,
tried to hold on to it. And the more I tried, the more I forgot.
mm.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
I guess if it happens more and more often, then, or yeah, maybe just the information will come back if it's needed.
Yeah. And the goal isn't to try and reincarnate it. It's, you know, in your dream, you weren't trying to do anything. You were just naturally open to express it. And so the way to bring that into this reality, to tap into your soul language, is to not be embarrassed to speak it, even if it's by yourself. It's so like a lot of the time I'll be in the shower, just like really just like cleansing, and I'm just start speaking it out. And then it starts to come out even easier and easier and easier. And the more you
Wow.
try, the harder it is to speak it, or the more you try to control it, it starts to slip away. But the more you just allow it to speak through you, it comes out like a fluent language, and you'll
Wow.
understand or understand what it is. And other people too who are open to receive it will pick up what you're speaking to them in this tongue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can you do it at will, or do you have to be in a certain kind of environment or mood, or
Yeah. So the more you practice it, the more it feels like sometimes, like there's been times where I feel English is weird. Like it doesn't resonate as much as it used to, or it doesn't actually communicate the way I feel like it used to. And that's because the light language, the soul language is so free with expression and tonality and articulation. You know, you're able to just like, there's things that I could say to you, like
okay, you do
if I were to look at you, Gary, and say, I love you, bro, you know, there's I could say that, or I could control, invite this energy in and like connect to you right now with our heart and stay in stillness for a bit before I speak. So I'm listening to the space right now and I'm looking at you.
Can we hear it?
Yeah, and I connect to you and I express something from my natural soul that your soul recognizes. It's like that says I love you so much more than I love you, right? It's like
I literally had I have a tear. Anna knows I'm very emotional.
Oh, yes.
So
Wow.
it's like it's language is about feeling. And so even if you sat with someone that spoke a different tongue than you, let's say they spoke like Zulu, South African.
I'm not joking. I'm crying right now.
Yeah. That's the soul. Your
Yeah.
soul recognizes the language because you've spoken it for millions of years, right?
Yeah.
Wait till you feel that and want to express it, not just through your mouth, but through movement and dancing. Like everything is just like this is how we co-create. This is the song, but that we sing, the song, the verses between you and I, universe that we're singing. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's so
So amazing.
Yeah.
Anna knows I cry all the time. It's like my thing.
good. So good. So
I
good.
try and do it. I don't. It just happens.
It's beautiful. It's healing.
Yeah.
Many men have been taught that crying is a sign of weakness. We've heard this narrative for many years, and we are returning to feeling things through all the way through, and it's healing many men over the entire globe. To be able to sit and allow yourself to submit and surrender to the feeling, because if we harness it in and we suppress it, if this emotional thing doesn't get released, it will manifest physically. And so it could look like hair loss. It could look like autoimmune disorders. It could look like cancer, right? It's like we need to release. We need to yell. We need to shout. We need to cry. We need to purge these things out so that we can keep the vessel clean. So I honor you for you honoring yourself.
Super
Thank you,
beautiful.
brother.
I also believe that this is a complete misconception that it's strong to keep things for yourself or to not be sensitive, because actually the more sensitive you are, the more you honor yourself and deeply know that whatever happens is always for you. And this is strength, because you know that you can deal with anything. And that's why even if that's what enables you to surrender, because the only reason why we cannot surrender is because we think we need to protect ourselves from a possible danger or from whatever. And this is not really strength, because you are protecting yourself, although there is nothing to protect yourself from. So strength would be to let it come, because you know whatever comes, you can handle it.
Mm-hmm. Say that one more time, that last part.
For real?
Yes. For the listeners, say it one more time.
Yeah, strength is surrendering, because you know that whatever happens, you can handle it.
Come on. It's so good. Yeah, many of us are living in that fear that we need protection. It's like, have you ever been talking on a phone while looking for your phone?
Oh, for sure.
Right? I do it all the time. It's the same thing. We're looking for something that we already have.
Yeah.
So yeah, I commend you on that clarity, and that's why I wanted you to say it again, because it's so powerful. You know that we need to get away from this constant fear of needing to, put up walls, and it's like we need to embody of just like this stillness and this power in just surrender. Because we're completely surrounded 24/7. We are completely protected, surrounded, just by being.
Yeah, and this is, I think, so difficult to understand for many people yet. I think this consciousness it raises, or we come to understand it more and more. But I just thought at some point, or it was a realization that just came to me, that I'm only building up some walls because I'm not aware that I can handle it. So somehow I'm in a victim mindset, and since I let that go, I can make decisions way faster, because I think, who cares? It will be fine. And I'm always loved. I'm always protected. It's always good, because I think when you start giving this energy and this love to yourself, you open up a door for realizing that others, or that the the whole, the universe, everything loves you too, because you start to understand the concept.
Mhm.
And then you know that nothing can really happen to you, because and it won't. The funny part is, when you are like that, you attract more things that match this idea. So
Yeah.
it can
And
just be good.
it's just vibration, right? Like the universe doesn't know good or bad.
Yeah.
It's like, what are we putting out there and what are we magnetizing? So when we stay in that lack mentality or that survival mentality, which many of us are in, it's telling them that we're just attracting that, matching that vibration. And so, yeah, it's how do we relieve ourselves from thinking that we need to survive, and from this, even it comes with even our diet too, this famine, trying to
Yes.
survive off the, we're just, yeah, we're not there anymore. So yeah, when people start to realize the power of their feelings and thoughts, they'll start to take and remember ownership of their body and mind and soul.
Amen.
Yeah.
We attract what we put out. And when Anna told me that you were going to be our next guest, I couldn't even believe it, because this is going to sound like I'm making this up. I'm not. Okay. So our core project at Optimum College is a video game. Because I don't know, why not? We're making a video game.
Why not? I
And
love it.
yeah. And it's the first video game that's creator driven. So every month there's a new episode. The first episode was released last week. There's a new episode and it features a different creator. And it's a video game, so it's a sword fighting game.
Nice.
And there's a different creator who is a fighter. And there's this whole universe we've created where this takes place, where it's an infinite fractal universe.
Mm-hmm.
And so these warriors who are gods and angels and demons. When you said you see Archangel Michael in your dreams, I do too. He's in the game. Archangel Michael's in the game. Lilith from the garden. Do you know the story of Lilith?
Yeah. Oh,
She's
yeah.
in the game.
Nice.
Heracleos, which was the original Hercules, he's in the game.
Yeah.
Athena. So Anastasia is playing Athena in the game.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah. And they look like the characters.
Yeah.
And so the idea is these gods and angels and myths and legends and demons and fiends, they're competing for the seat of life. And the one who claims the seat of life creates the next scale of this infinite fractal universe in their image. And so then the question is, well, who created in this universe of this game, who created our scale of reality? And so it came to me that our scale was created by the champion who won without ever lifting a blade, with only his words and his presence. And I was thinking, you're going to think I'm making this up. I was thinking, who would this be? You were at the top of my list.
Wow.
That's why I followed you.
Yeah, that's so cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love your idea. I love your concept. I love the world you're creating. That's kind of what I've been doing on my podcast with Energy Hospital. It's just like, how do we get people into the child self again? How do we get them into craving play again? Because many adults, we just through a lot of conditioning and being pushed through certain systems and structures, we just don't seek anymore when it comes to how to express ourselves. So we don't climb trees anymore nearly enough as we should. Some of us are not as mobile as we used to be. So I just feel like expression and creativity and play is key. So yeah, I think it's so cool making a video.
I love that you're not just talking about, there's so many quote unquote gurus out there who they just talk. It's like, where are your fruits? Like, you have an abundance of fruits. It's like you are the consummate creator. You're not just saying these things, you're living this.
Thank you.
You're putting this out in the world.
I appreciate that. Yeah. And I think when you truly open your throat to speaking these truths, and I mean, really, really speaking from the heart, allowing this energy to move out untouched, unfiltered, the
Yes.
action follows. I can't help but not do what I'm doing. You know what I mean? And I don't have to think very hard about it. I've been telling a lot of my clients recently, your gift shall make room for life, not you making room for your gift. Too many of us are living life trying to make room for our gift, like it's a side project or a
Yes.
hobby. Your gift that you're uniquely, brilliant in, that's so you,
Mhm.
undeniably you, should make room for your life by being in your gift. And so, yeah, for me, it feels like a blessing because it doesn't necessarily feel like work. I feel like I'm playing, and it's a blessing to make a living by playing.
It's
So, yeah.
beautiful.
Thank you so much.
Awesome. What impact, or maybe even long-term impact, did you observe when it comes to your clients and sound healing, or yeah, just doing the practices that you're doing with them?
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for asking. My goal is to um, walk beside people and lead them back to themselves. So it's not to lead them into, Finnegan's way of living. It's like, how do I encourage people? Because we're all so very different and intentionally different. We're supposed to be different puzzle pieces that have different shapes and colors, right? So it's like my goal as a coach and remembrance teacher is to help people remember themselves. And so it's like, how do we get people to many people that I work with experience depression.
Mhm.
And depression to me is just the body needing deep rest
Mhm.
from the character it's trying to maintain, which a
Hmm.
lot of us are. We've been pushed through a system again, that has told us we need this degree and then we need this job and then we need this
Yeah.
white fence and we need this house and then we need a family. And then all of a sudden we're like 65 and we retire, but our bodies are so brittle that we can't even experience life anymore. It's like we need deep rest from the character we've built. And so a lot of it is deconstructing who they think they are and who they know they are deep down. So it's like finding out the what the child's saying. It's like, how can we get the person to listen to what the child is saying in them? It's like, okay,
And
Tiffany, the child is like, I want to play with, clay more. And then Tiffany, let's say she's a nurse, is like, I don't have time to play with clay. I have to be a nurse. It's like, no, it's like, listen to what the child in you is
Yeah.
saying.
Anna, what do you always say?
I always say I'm the child.
Yes. Yes, you are. Yes, you are. I love
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. I always say I don't want to do the boring adult stuff, but I don't mean like in general, because I think some things are just boring for me, but other people again would say, hey, I feel so passionate about it and I really truly want to do that. But it's just that this idea that everyone needs to do the same thing, it's like a concept that everyone tries to follow. And this doesn't make any sense because, as you say, we are so extremely different. And then I think, what does make us think that everyone can be happy by following the very same concept in life?
Hmm. Yeah, you're so true. Of course, we feel collectively a little more bland, a little disconnected, because we have tried to form our puzzle pieces the same as other people. And if let's say you have a puzzle that's a million pieces, and a million of them are the exact same shape, you can't even put it together.
Yeah.
Like you wouldn't even be able to put it together. So of course we're not connecting because the characters that we've made are hindering us from
Right.
putting this shape into this shape. And then so it's like we need to get back to being our unique selves so that we can connect to community again, so that we can see the brilliance in each other and like, wow, you have this thing that I'm inspired by, and like teach me how you do that, so that I could have that color in my puzzle piece. That's the
Oh,
key.
yeah,
Yeah.
this makes so much sense because yes, what we are actually trying to do is we try to be like the other one. So that's why we try to pursue the same career as someone who we admire. We try to look like other people. So like all these trends that show us you have to look like that, you have to act like that, you have to think like that. And um yeah, and I feel so much resistance. So I'm kind of grateful because since I'm a child, whenever people tell me to do something, I have like the very deep urge to do the opposite, which probably is
Exactly.
also not very healthy sometimes, but it
Yeah,
helps in that situation.
sure does. Yeah, sure does. So yeah, with my coaching, it's like, it's not about me. They're
Yeah.
attracted to it for a reason. And I think it's divine that, when you're attracted to something, your higher self is leading you in that direction. So I can provide what I've done in my life, but in no way do I feel called to say, this is what I think you should do. I can help assist people, right? Like my music doesn't heal anyone. They can use my music to heal themselves, right? I'm not a healer for other people. I believe everyone is a healer as themselves, and they have this power over them. So yeah, it's just helping people remember how powerful, how smart and intelligent their body is, and how to take care of and caretake this relationship with the self again.
That's
I
so
love that you
beautiful.
mentioned you're a coach. Um, the way Optimum College works is to graduate, you have to have a project. And that project can be anything the member wants. I don't like to call them students, but anything the member wants. It can be anything. It can be music, it could be art, it could be athletics, pretty much anything. If they want to blow up the world, I'm gonna be like, that can't be an Optimum project, but pretty much anything. And then I encourage them to reach out to a mentor who can help brainstorm with them. Could I refer people to you? Because you mentioned you're a coach and you
Yeah.
could do whatever you want with them. I would be completely hands off.
Oh wow. Yeah. Absolutely. Everything that's in the link of my bios on every social platform. If you click that link, it leads you to like a drop page that has many things you could click. My music's up there, but also at the top it says book time with me. And then I offer a bunch of I like to call them one-with-one sessions. That they can click and would love to. And thank you. Absolutely.
Perfect.
How do people respond to your practice? Or did you ever have the experience that someone changed their personality completely or changed their life? Or what was one of the most profound, probably, experiences that you observed?
I'm so grateful to have people that are willing to share how the things that I've done have affected them and inspired them. It's a little overwhelming because it's like emotionally overwhelming because it's so much energy, hearing these things. And I know that I've worked with my ego enough in my life where I know that there's a time and place for, just humbling myself. And lately it's just been a huge space for humility and just like coming down to a place of like, I am literally so grateful that I have ears and eyes that can hear these things and, integrate it into their life. So a lot of the clients that I've worked with a couple months through helping them on their journey, their businesses start to thrive because it's not about money. It is an energy exchange. It's how we're building a relationship, a language with the environment around us. And so people who came in to work with me and by first saying, I don't know how to hear source or God, I can't hear it, I don't know how to speak to God. It's like when I help them learn their own unique language and how they can see and experience source communicating with them, they leave like completely in control of their life because it's like they've developed a relationship. And not a lot of people teach this. A bee could fly by you and you could swat at it. And a bee could literally fly right by me as I'm talking to you and I could swat at it. Or it could fly by me and I don't swat. And then I think, ooh, a bee. Okay, being. Source wants me to pound in on like being right now, being present. Or like, let's say I'm driving down the road and my tire pops. I could get out and kick the tire and get mad that I'm gonna have to pay for this tire now. I don't have the money to do that, and I'm gonna be late to my meeting. Or as an alchemist, I can feel into the language of how source is communicating to me, and then maybe I sit on the side of the road and I'm like, maybe I need more air. Maybe I need to breathe. Maybe I need to
Oh,
slow down. This is how we communicate with source. And so a lot of people haven't been taught how to surf in this way. And like they think source is ignoring them when I'm like, source is literally yelling at you all day long. You're just thinking it's a random butterfly. It's like, yeah. So teaching them how to communicate with source so that they build confidence in how they are, relating to the things around them.
Do you think human connection is a want or a need or maybe something else?
I think communion is necessary. I think unifying is necessary.
Me too.
we are seeing reflections of parts of us that we could tap into if we want. And so if I'm attracted to something that Gary says or something that Gary is embodying, there's something in me that I have yet to tap into that's kind of begging, you know, give me a little more attention. And so it's like we need reflections because we get to see who we are, and then we get to love the other person, and by loving them we're loving ourselves and vice versa. So yeah, I believe it's a necessity.
Me too. Me too.
We were discussing that a lot, and I was thinking about it a lot because actually there are two different takes on that also within the spiritual community, that you have a teaching that says, or that teaches self-sufficiency. So of course you kind of need to be fine with where you are and who you are deep down, and not crave for anything outside of yourself, but it turns into an idea that you alone is like completely enough. Then there is the understanding that a human being cannot exist without a community, or that something will be missing. And I had personally to think about it a lot, because I believe kind of both is true, or probably one is necessary for the other part, that you find something within yourself, but it's not the idea to be alone, because if it was the idea to be alone, then we wouldn't be here. So then everything would still be one.
I believe it comes down to like semantics. It's just wording. So if you are one with everything, you're already communing. By communing with yourself, you are in a conversation with everything around you. So it's a little bit of both. Anytime someone says this is the only way, red flags. You know what I mean? I'm like, that's it's never that. It's always like, let's get a further back, point of view. So yes, seek the self, be whole with the self, and then give the overspill. So when your cup is full, like, give the overspill. It's a blessing to give. It's a blessing to connect with others, but never neglect the self. So it's almost like this back and forth thing. It's like sometimes, again, with this, right? Sometimes we do need to go into hermit mode and just harness in, right? And seclude ourselves from community, because then we start to pull in this divine wisdom, and it's we're in our dark, we're in our cocoon, right? As the pupa, the caterpillar, is in the cocoon, it will die. It will literally die inside of the cocoon before it transforms into the butterfly. So sometimes we go through seasons that we do need to go all the way into just the self and push the world away. But what ends up happening is the butterfly comes out of the cocoon and now has a different purpose. As a caterpillar, its purpose was to just consume, literally just eat. And it would just crawl. It couldn't fly. It had a different ability. It could only crawl. So it was limited in a way. With its own consciousness, it was limited to do things. So not only did its purpose change from consuming to pollinating, spreading, it has new abilities. It can fly, which is insane. It can see UV spectrum light. It sees different colors. So yeah.
I made a TikTok about this. Nice.
Wow.
Before it was a butterfly, it melted down.
Yeah.
And it didn't even know why it was melting down.
Yeah.
Maybe, I don't know what the mental faculties of a caterpillar are like, but maybe it was thinking like, oh no, I'm melting. This is horrible.
Exactly.
But then it emerges and it's something better than it could have ever imagined.
Exactly. I love that you said imagine. Do you know the cells that are secreted from the caterpillar? They're called imaginational cells. That's like the term.
Huh.
Yeah, they're called imaginational cells.
Perfect word. Perfect. Yeah. I was gonna say that if anyone who's listening to this thinks that they want or need community, I know a guy who hosts retreats. Yeah. You want to talk about those? Or?
Yeah, absolutely. So thank you for that plug. That was really nice. Well done. Yeah. So I've been holding retreats with a good friend of mine, Uni Agape. He is an incredible sonic alchemist, Merlin, Magi, shaman, brother, all of the above. And it's been an honor to sit beside him and lead people in ceremony. I've been working with a lot of plant teachers. One in particular, ayahuasca, has been the most recent one. And so, yeah, we've been holding retreats with this plant teacher. A lot of the work prior to the actual sitting with the plant medicine is intention, and afterwards integration. So it's all about the intention you're bringing into the medicine and how you can integrate the things that you see and feel and learn through the plant teacher, because a lot of these teachers are just showing you yourself. They're showing you that you are ayahuasca, you are psilocybin, you are literally all of these teachers. You are the teacher as you are the student. So yeah, I've been sitting with, smaller groups of people. I've been posting a lot of these codexes, these details with the retreats on my Instagram and TikTok. So if anyone is interested or has been feeling called to sit with grandmother ayahuasca, would love to jump on a call with you and see kind of what you're working through, and would love to meet you in person and have you be a part of the container, wherever it may be.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's super great. I mean, there are different takes on plant medicine in general from many people, but I personally appreciate it. I don't have any experience with ayahuasca, but I used to try truffles, which are similar to magic mushrooms, or it's also like a mushroom plant. And I got, I think, 4 major recognitions from that. So I learned so much, and I did it with intention. But the intention was not to teach me this specific thing. It was more like I'm opening myself up to learn anything that is important for me right now.
So
and there were like 4 major recognitions that were so beautiful, and brought me into an experience kind of state. So not just understanding things with my logical mind, but experience things deeper that I already knew. Like, it's always now. Yeah, people will think, okay, like, write it on your wall, or put it as a tattoo on your arm. But it is different if you really deeply experience that it's now, and that it always has been and always will be, and that you are like in a little fragment or something. You don't experience time as linear. And this was very interesting, because from this experience comes the real knowledge, and then you can apply it, and then you can live by that. And I find it very, very interesting. So I also had this feeling, and even this word in my mind that said it's a teacher.
They most certainly are. And they are you, you realize, because you are one with it, it's not separate from you. And so a lot of the epiphanies that come, even if you're working with the fungi or if you're working with the vine, there are very similar feelings of, the story is that it is all here and now, everything. And nothing. It's all right here now. The past is not actually occurring, and the future is not really here. It's only here and always here. And so, master teachers, and super thankful for these plants. And I believe as we enter this golden age, there will be a time where we don't need these plants anymore, because we have embodied this fully. And now we are teachers,
Hey, do you tour?
With music? No, not yet.
You could. I would go.
Yeah. I gotta find a way to, because I make all my music and I play all my instruments. And if I were to tour, I would need to find like, a full band, because I don't want to be, I've seen those artists that have like looping stations and stuff. I think that's cool, but I want like a full on experience if I take Energy Hospital live. And so, yeah, the goal is to attract those musicians and maybe put a tour together.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you perform at the retreats?
Oh yeah. All like the whole
I could
time.
bang a drum.
Yeah.
Looking for musicians.
So the majority of ceremony is in song, with ayahuasca in particular, you go through certain gates. You have 4 gates. So we're working with 4 directions. We're working with 4 kind of cultures. We're working with 4 elements, right? Water, earth, fire, wind. And so in
your logo too.
Yep, exactly. It's the 4. So yeah, the medicine wheel in Native American culture, the medicine wheel, all of these things are kind of together with how Uni and I create the container. and it's all about song and prayer formance. It's a prayer formance that is happening that we allow people to be a part of, because everyone works with these teachers in different ways. A lot of the Shipibo people, it's super like you got to sit upright. You're usually in a very dark room. You don't really speak. There is no music aside from the person who's facilitating singing. With the whole time it's just which is, some people need that. And but the container that Uni and I have created is a little more like musical, and we're involving like aromas and there's a little bit of room for them to collaborate as well.
Yes, I like this. When I go to a concert, everyone's facing one direction, and there's someone on the stage, and the person's above you, and it's something that's always weird about it to me.
True.
I love this idea, creating something together. I love it.
Yeah, and you'll notice that people who are deep into ayahuasca, and she's working through you, right? She's working on your blood, she's working on your liver, your kidneys, your gallbladder, where she's getting us all into feeling this oneness, this one mind. And so you'll see the songs that we're singing, they're made up, but they're not, because we realize when we're in it, we've been all singing the song. So people on the other side of the room who are in this, who may not even know how to sing, start singing the words that we're singing out loud. So it's like that, it's solidifying and validating that like this is real. This is a real coming back together, and it's going to be through song and dance and art.
In the concert is the community.
Community, yeah.
Yeah, everyone's facing each other.
And
I love it.
We're sitting on the same ground.
Yes.
Anyone that's listening, if you're interested and have been feeling the calling, or if you have been feeling the beckoning, if you will, of these plant teachers, would love to sit with you and dive a little deeper. We have a bunch coming up in 2024.
I would want to sell Finn on being the creator of our scale of reality in this video game universe, but I think you'd want to see the game and stuff.
I'd love to see, designs and like what you're working with. Shoot me an email, and that'd be really cool. That'd be really fun.
Awesome.
Love love the world you're building. Would be a little more interested to see like what it looks like.
I think you'll like it. I think there's a reason why the universe attracted us together. I didn't tell Anna to reach out to you, and she did not know about that. She did not know that you were like my dream for this project. You didn't know.
Yeah, that's cool.
What, like, lean into the universe and magic happens. That's becoming kind of my mantra.
Yeah.
Because we just teamed up to make some roundtables together, because I started Insanity, the podcast, this year, so it's still quite new. And then we teamed up with Gary, and we were talking about roundtables. I just showed him my lineup for the next episodes, and I told him roughly what it was about. So I didn't even mention your name, but he kind of already knew. So it was very, very cool.
Yeah,
that's so cool. Yeah. Oh man, that's so amazing. Yeah, let me know details, and it'd be fun to look over that. And before we jump off, I'd love to speak into the work that you guys are doing, and just for those that are listening, if you're open for me to love on you two a bit. So let's just take a deep conscious breath through the nose together, and exhale out of the mouth. Let's do 2 more of those. So grateful for this in-perience with you two, and I am so honored to have met you both. It's one thing seeing words on an email or a comment section or a DM, and another thing being able to see your faces and hear your voices. So this has been such a joy, just speaking limitless doors of opportunity opening for the two of you on both of your journeys, that your career turns into a vocation, that your path illuminates so people are attracted to the light, so that people come to you and ask you, what is it that you're doing? What are you eating? What are you thinking? What are you doing? Why are you glowing? Right? And that you don't have to necessarily go out and tell people, teach people. You just live it. You are it. You be it. You is it always and in all ways. So I'm speaking just abundance and opportunity, people, connections, collaborations that bring you into the next stage, that you strengthen all of your abilities, that you approach your shadow in a gentile way. You listen to her, you listen to him, you meet them, you integrate the child into your life even more, you play more. So I speak these words with full reverence and confidence that this is what you're doing. This is who you are. This is who you've always been. I am super grateful and honored. Ashe. Blessed be. Thank you.
Wow.
Thank you, Finn. So
Thank you
beautiful.
so much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Finn.
What a joy. What a joy.
Yeah. I'm speechless.
Yeah, yeah. And that's where light language comes in. Sometimes we get nervous and we think we need to talk so much, but let's just even invite. I think it'd be perfect for the end of this. Like, let's just look at each other. We don't have to say anything. Our eyes are the windows to our soul. So they communicate deeper of what our soul is speaking than what our mouths can. We could literally look at each other and do it, you know. So just for even a moment, just some silence and look at each other. There it is. There it is. We're moving into a place where we have to do less,
Yeah.
you know, we do less and be more. So yeah, again, such a joy. Looking forward to staying connected with the two of you.
Yes.
Yeah, let me know. Send me the deets. And thank you
Yeah.
for be on your podcast, and
So
so
much.
stoked for you. I know you mentioned it's brand new, so yeah, just
Yeah.
stoked. You're in that beginning stage. It's super like, yeah, the snowball is building and it's rolling. So yeah, just excited for the momentum you're bringing into your
I'll
life.
send you the deeds.
Too. Yeah, thank you. Thank you. We stay in touch. I send you the infos when the episode goes live, and
Okay,
I
cool.
will teaser it a bit all over social media as well.
That's good. All right.
Thank you,
Cool.
Finn.
Love you
Bye
too.
bye.